has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.
That's a cracking right hand, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab. He's the right hand. Another right hand, and he goes down. Oh my goodness.
The dream is made real. Ricky Hatton rocks the world with a truly stunning win over a modern legend. He is the champion of the world.
Yes. What's going on, people? Raps on TV, here to talk the best things in boxing as per usual. I'm joined by my co-host today, Mr. Sam. How you doing, sir?
I'm great. Raps on TV. We're back again.
Busy weekend.
Yes.
Non-stop. I guess from a non-boxing perspective. What took place this weekend? Any big news?
What? Non-boxing? Did you say?
Non-boxing.
Mourinho.
Oh yeah, it's not good for me either, bro. As an Arsenal fan,
Arsenal, come on.
I was not happy, bro. It's like I
World
didn't want
domination.
him at Arsenal, but I really didn't want him at Spurs either. So.
It's going to be a swap because Pochettino, I'm so sure Pochettino is going to come to Arsenal.
I think he's bigger. Not that he's bigger than Arsenal, but I think he'd go for maybe a Bayern. Or, I've heard that he's going for the Bayern. He might get the Bayern job because they sacked their manager as well. So
second season at the moment. So
well, apart from Arsenal, man, we don't seem to be doing that. But guys, yeah, business as usual. Back again, here to talk the best things in boxing. I would like to say it's been a busy weekend, but it's been mediocre. No, it's been more than mediocre. It's been a bit full on. The agenda for today, really no place than other to start really than the Wilder versus Ortiz 2. We're going to break down that rematch, see the guy's thoughts, and obviously listen out for the fans. Also going to talk about the MTK Golden Contract Show, which took place on Friday down at York Hall. Also up in Liverpool, you had Callum Smith headlining a matchroom card where he fought John Ryder, and he won a controversial decision, I think it's fair to say. And then also AJ and Andy Ruiz have landed in Saudi Arabia ahead of their much anticipated rematch. So looking forward to chopping today's show up. First things first, got to say, don't forget to call 01506 353955. That's 01506 353955. And there you will be able to get in touch with us and give us your thoughts and all things boxing. So no better place to start than Las Vegas, Saturday, 23rd of November.
Whew.
We had the man that calls himself the Bronze Bomber going in for the rematch against Mr. King Kong. And I know you guys that listened to the show last week, you would have heard me say, listen, I do think Wilder will win, but I think it will be tough. I was probably a lot more nervous for him going into this fight than I was than the first fight. So the fight took place. What more can we say? I mean, it's going to be an interesting kind of back and forth today. And guys, I must say, the lines for the callers, lines will open at 8 o'clock. So 8 o'clock, we will be opening the lines to get your feedback. But yeah, in terms of the fight, I think those of you that heard the interview with Wilder a couple of weeks ago, he spoke about some of the challenges he had going into this fight. So we're all settling down, thinking that we're going to see him coughing mucus while he's doing his ring walk. We didn't see any of that, but what we did see was one of the probably most extravagant costumes we've seen for a ring walk in a long time.
Oh, absolutely.
Sam, what was your thoughts on that costume?
Absolutely. I think that was very bold, eccentric. Kind of reminds me of Eubanks Senior and how he likes to dress, and that kind of how do I say, over exuberance, or the kind of confidence, arrogance, with a bit of hint of Ali with the angelic white.
Yes.
But
I was worried about it. I don't because it was very reminiscent of Joshua. Remember when Joshua beat Martin and he came in all white, the same for the Klitschko. Yeah, that whole Joshua Ali look.
Listen, we've had the talk about Wilder kind of trying to mimic the Joshua model, and I think he's well on his way to doing that, actually. But I don't know about the kind of crown as such, but he is the king of boxing at the moment, and I think because of the fact it was equaling, or he's equaled the record of Muhammad Ali's WBC defenses. So big congrats to him, and what a great performance.
Yeah, no, and I think you're right. Great performance in the sense of, look, let's be honest, how far can you go being a one-trick pony? And I mean that with the full respect for Deontay Wilder, because it's an absolutely phenomenal trick. He measures it. He judges the distance in terms of when he's going to be able to land it, you could argue. But in your opinion, how far can you get in boxing being a one-trick pony?
I mean, it's a difficult one because depends what you define as one-trick pony. If it's his one-punch power, but the thing is, he hasn't just got the one-punch power because he's got the athletic ability to keep going with you. He can trade. He can't necessarily box in the kind of way in which we're used to seeing. And, you know, he's not, I wouldn't say in terms of the old school, if we're looking at the boxing gods of before, he's a terrible boxer, but he's got modern day traits. He's got the kind of, you know, if it's not broke, don't fix it. My one banger's got me this far. It's got me 10 defenses, got me 40 wins. You know,
42 plus wins. Yeah, agreed.
Knockdown. It's.
I mean, I think, and just on that, I think you're right. I asked the question because I think evidently in the ring he's one trick. What I do think is probably things that you can't see. I think you could definitely say he's got heart. I would even say he's got a bit of a chin because he took some shots from Ortiz in this fight, in the first fight, and Fury in between, and we've still not really seen him go down. We've seen him look hurt. He seems wobbled, even with the David Hayes sparring from a few years ago. Looked wobbled, but he stayed on his feet. So you've got to give him credit for that. So I think he's got heart. He's got a chin. I do think, however, and we're going to get into the sort of positive of the performance, but I do think long term, I think it's only a matter of time before he probably loses, because I do think it's going to get into, because you got to say, if he doesn't knock you down, because I think everybody he's faced, he's knocked down, if not knocked out, bar Fury, but he knocked him down. Or Stavern, first fight, he knocked him down. So you've got to say, if he doesn't knock you down, you've probably got a good chance of winning the fight.
No, I get that. I mean, I understand, but look at Molina. I think if we're looking at the first kind of fighter who kind of really rocked Deontay Wilder, I mean, Molina was the guy to do that, but wasn't able to capitalize. But you've got to understand with Deontay Wilder, I feel like him getting knocked and hit in the face kind of it kind of fuels him. I've noticed it. It kind of gives him the kind of kick up the backside to say, look, we're one trick pony. We need to do what we're doing best. Otherwise, if I don't do this, I'm not going to be the bronze bomber. I'm not going to be able to have that arrogance. Because you got to understand, one thing about Wilder is his biggest trait and what he's built the name is that one bang. That one bang, that 1-2, that one, you know, we've seen it against Brazil, who, you know, everyone compares him to the Joshua. It took Joshua 7 rounds. It doesn't matter about inexperience. If you're at that level, you're all being compared the same.
Exactly.
You know, it took him 7 rounds to break him down. And it took Wilder 1 round. And arguably, Dominic Brazil was arguing, saying he was fitter, he was better, and he actually looked physically better and fitter. And
he was talking a lot going.
Exactly. And he had a lot more money behind him in terms of, you know, he was able to pay for a proper good camp. And, you know, so there's kind of pros and cons of both. And there's kind of different variables in both fights. But, you know, not going too much on the Brazil because that's done. But, you know, we kind of see him doing the exact same formula that he did with Ortiz. Again, the second time that Ortiz looked really strong. He looked really fit. You know, he looked like he had a great training camp as well. Look at the Fashion Overs and all that all over his attire. So he's getting those sponsorship checks.
He did 12 weight. He said he had a 12-week camp.
Yeah.
Brought Larry Wade in. So
Larry Wade is solid.
Exactly. And like I said last week, Larry Wade worked with Sean. Was working with Sean Porter. Worked with a lot of American footballers. Also, not that it's true relevance, but the KSI fight, KSI, he brought him in. So again, it was all about that endurance, that high stamina. I think it's fair to say that you saw some improvements.
Massively.
You look at his shape. Obviously, everyone was questioning the shape from the weigh-in. You know, the weigh-in
because he's old and questioning his age. But if you look at the way he was fighting, like the first 3 rounds, he set precedent. He said, "Look, if you don't knock me out, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to win." And I think just catching him with the right hand, the backhand, just the way it was so flush and clear, just made you think, you know, Luis Ortiz is bad. He's here to fight for the future checks that he wants to get. He's here to be around for the long haul. And you know, Wilder was a little bit rattled. That's a poor from a technical boxing perspective, bar the knockout. I believe that was actually one of the worst Wilder performances we've seen. I think it's almost as bad as, I think it's even worse than the Fury in terms of just his boxing ability, except this time we haven't seen him go for the big wild haymaker punches and swing and loop it, but instead he was just trying to be calculated.
And that's why I do say, I think not technically better, but I don't think it is his worst. And I say it because he was more measured, so he wasn't throwing the wild right shots.
True.
And I think he knew, okay, I'm just going to wait. he was throwing the jab a little bit. I think the technique of how he always throws the jab makes me laugh. It's a little bit slap.
It's that slap. It's not.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
the
not
boxers
like
do the
firm.
slap, but it's not a firm kind of clench of the fist to the face.
Exactly.
He's just like slap.
Yeah. So I think from that point of view, I think look, there's not much you could say from a technical point of view. But what I did like was the balance of his. He had a lot more balance, the positioning of his feet this time. When he was on the back foot in terms of being approached, he seemed to move like you do fundamentals, step back, and bring the front foot. You know what I mean? Step back, bring the front foot back. So I thought that was impressive. I do want to focus on Ortiz though, because I mean, obviously, and it seemed like it was a bit of a narrative. A lot of Wilder mainly as well, but overall, most people were saying, look, Ortiz is a credible opponent. People need to give him a chance. He needs to be in action against top level fighters more frequently. And Wilder was quite vocal, saying that nobody wants to give him a chance. I'm going to do it. Daughters, blah, blah, blah. But in your opinion, if I said to you next year, Ortiz could fight 2 guys, who would you pick?
At top level?
Yeah.
I'd love to see him fight Dillian Whyte.
Yeah.
I think Dillian Whyte and him would be such a great tear-up. I think it would be so intense. Ultimately, I'll say 3 people, not just 2.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
I'd like, in terms of a top-level opponent as well, I'd also like to see him with a Ruiz, because they have not similar fighting style, but, you know, Ortiz is Cuban.
That would be a great line.
He's Mexican. That would be a great fight for fans and viewers across different territories to be able to watch. And I think it would be very historic if it's not in the UK or US, somewhere else.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see how Ruiz would act as someone like such a organized boxer with Ortiz. That would be good.
Yeah.
And thirdly, I know this is quite a British favorite type, but you know what? Derek Chisora. I think he deserves. I would love to see him because I think he'll knock out Ortiz.
Ooh, interesting.
If he's fit, if he's David Hayes fit, and I think that's a great chess move for him.
I mean, I do think I probably would have gone with the other 2. I probably wouldn't have put Ruiz in there just because I would have said likely if he wins, then you would probably looking at the Wilder fight. But I get your point. I think that's a good addition. But I would have said definitely. I think Dillian Whyte or Derek Chisora. I think because of what they bring, the physicality, like they're rough fighters as well. Exactly. Ruiz is not necessarily a rough fighter, like you said. Spit heart. He's intelligent, fast hands, but he's got heart. We know that. But I think from the Ortiz perspective of being older, being probably the more skillful out of Dillian Whyte and Chisora, I think it'll be very interesting to see how he copes with the sort of energy. But
Dillian.
Dillian. I think it's interesting
I think he'll be able to adapt.
Ortiz, but then I think how Ortiz deals with Dillian Whyte and Chisora in terms of their rough energy. But then I think how they deal with the skill set, because you could see even on Saturday, Ortiz was setting traps.
Oh,
and he was landing, he was getting through, but
he
just couldn't get exactly.
It's just that phenomenal ability that Wilder has just to change the game at any moment with that one.
And the fact that he didn't get knocked down.
Exactly. That's what it is. But going back to Ortiz and Dillian, I think that would be a great fight, and I would love to see that happen. I think it's, I think in terms of the narratives as well, both failed drug tests. Both got a lot to prove to loads of different people and different paths, brings great numbers in. I just think with Dillian, because he's improving in every fight and adapting, I just think he can adapt to the Ortiz way. I think Mark Tibbs will train him to the ability to have an understanding of the game and understand how Ortiz works. And I think Mark Tibbs and Dillian Whyte are such a strong trainer-fighter partnership that I think you have to be at the very top level to be able to break that. And I think that's proven it since the fight of him getting him in and sacking Klitschko's old trainer and bringing him up to there. So I'm looking forward to that fight if it happens. So Eddie, if you're listening, we need to get this fight happening.
Yeah, I think
the zone, get the checkbook out.
Yeah, no, I think you're right what you're saying. I mean, whether they would to make that fight, I don't know. Like I said, there's rumors that Dillian is going to be fighting Marius Wack in the Saudi Arabia card. So if that takes place, again, that's definitely going to be interesting. But I think for Ortiz, I think he gave himself like I said, a lot of credibility. A lot of people were sad sounds a bit harsh, but a lot of people were like, they felt sorry for him because, ultimately, like, he was doing well and then he just got caught short, and that's what happens when you're fighting at with that level against such a dangerous opponent.
I just think he gets away with too much. Like, fundamentally, I think every kind of boxing head watches the channel and just thinks, this is not boxing. Yeah. They look at him and say that, but everyone's waiting for that one punch knockout. And I mean, I mean, I heard the other day that he's the modern day Mike Tyson, and in some respects, yes, but from a boxing point of view, no. In terms of a technical fighting point of view, no. But in terms of status and getting the end product and flocking fans together, I really think Wilder is now becoming into his element, and now he's reaching the prime of Deontay, and we're seeing the real bronze bomb in full effect. I think, Joshua also losing to Ruiz has also helped boost his profile massively, because now everyone's so obsessed with the whole not having an L in your record, and he's the only kind of heavyweight bar Tyson Fury, this exciting and forward fighting, this kind of taking the shine now. So
and in terms of obviously we spoke about Ortiz, who could fight next. I think he made some good points. But for Wilder, do you think he should be going into the Fury fight next, which is scheduled for February? And what's your thoughts about that fight in general?
I think, as Deontay Wilder said on IFL TV the other night, Ben Davison, if you're listening, you got to be taking some notes, because this is what's going to happen to Tyson. And I think, from Ben Davis' point of view, you can't help but not listen to that, because that weapon is just so powerful. Because heavyweights, it's not. To be honest, unless Tyson Fury really concentrate, I need him to really concentrate for this fight. I don't think, from a fan point of view, I don't really like Fury's style as such. I think Fury plays it very safe when he fights quite a lot of the time. And if he is able to do that, fantastic. But it's not a win like we thought that we want and have that expectations of heavyweights to be able to win. We always expect a heavyweight never to go to points, because you guys are two big guys. You're
going for knock. That's why we sign up for.
That's why heavyweights is so glorified the way it is. And Tyson, even though you're different type, you've got feet like a middleweight and hands of like a featherweight, unbelievable specimen of an athlete in Tyson Fury. But I don't see him beating Wilder in that fashion, because Wilder knows what he's going to do. So Wilder knows as soon as Tyson Fury has his hands down, or he gets him in a corner and gets him powerful, all he needs to land is that one, and you're in trouble.
I think the interesting, I will say though, I think with Fury, the thing that will go against Wilder is that he's not a mug. Like, you can't just say you're going to hit him and it's just going to stand there. He's going to be moving, all his little fidgeting. And I think that might it's very awkward. I think that might catch Wilder off guard again. The switch hitting as well, so he changes positions, whether it's orthodox or southpaw. Fury was really good at that. For me, I just think my big takeaway, because I'll be honest, when the first fight happened and then I heard Wilder wanting the immediate rematch, I was so surprised. I was thinking, you don't want any part of this. Stay away.
No, of course, because he exposed Wilder.
He exposed him massively. Even though he got the knockdowns, I felt he exposed him, and I just felt he wasn't going to be able to learn quickly.
No, he was lucky to win that fight. He was lucky to keep his belts.
100%.
But at the end of the day, no one cares about. No one's going to think back in 2 or 3 years or whatever when we have our new gen, the Bois and those guys coming through. No one's going to say that. Okay, Tyson Fury nearly won.
But some people will, obviously his friends. But my point being is that I think during the fight with Fury, a lot of Wilder's punches was that big overhand right. It was putting it in the mailbox, and he could see it coming.
No, of course.
That punch that knocked out Ortiz
all day long.
I think that would avoid Ben Davison more than anything, because it was a short right hand and the power was phenomenal. I mean, we've seen the knockout, we've seen his legs, we've seen the
way he reacted,
all the sweat on the ringside. Exactly. A lot of people say, "Oh, but the ref stopped it too early." I'm like, dude, the guy's on the floor and he's trying to pull out his upper mouth guard with his boxing glove. Anybody that boxed knows you can't do that.
You can't do that.
You can't use your boxing glove to pull out.
Stunned, very
even when he stood up.
Ortiz was
exactly.
He had to just hug out Wilder at the end and say, "Look, I've been beat twice. I don't want any more of that smoke again. I don't want any more of." Wilder. Ortiz just saying, "Look, I've made my name."
Fair play to him. He's gone in there twice and got knocked out twice. I mean, what that does to a human, we'll soon find out. It's true, right? You know what I mean? You can't keep going in with somebody who just knocks you out like that.
Of course, definitely.
But so with the Fury one, I still think that's going to be very interesting, because I think over the last year, I don't care what anyone says, if you're being neutral, you would say that there's positives for Wilder in terms of how he's fought guys and who he's fought, as opposed to Fury, who's fought Wallin and Schwartz, went the distance with Wallin and also took a massive cut. Again, that cut, that will play on Fury's mind, because 100%. I don't care what anyone says. If Wilder opens that up, you can't fight in the same way,
No.
the way you did against Wally.
Either the towel won't get pulled in, but I think the thing is that cut could lead to a controversial decision again. Unfortunately, because I could see somebody, especially if it's in America, we know how the American referees are.
Yeah.
We know how, especially if it depends on the commission, if it's the Las Vegas commission and the New York commission, we've been told, and they've been under a lot of scrutiny recently about when to pull fighters in and when to have these flag signs. Remember in New York a year or so ago, I remember watching the Gal Badu Jack fight, and the referee kept telling guys to walk left and right, and
But what is, like you say, it's the New York commission, and that's, I know people say, "Oh, what happened in the 7th?" I'm like, look, that's the rules. Like
they're gonna get the doctors ringside, and if a doctor tells him, "Look, this cut is serious," you're getting pulled out, unfortunately, and there can't be any room for excuse. I think that could be a saving grace for Tyson Fury to get a trilogy. But
trilogy, yeah. I mean, look, but I think from a Wilder perspective, I think, look, for the fans of Wilder, if you watched him on the weekend and you were expecting anything, I think the biggest plus point for Wilder is that he showed that he is a KO king.
Absolutely.
And I think we now know what we're getting with him. One thing I will say, kind of moving off the actual boxing, I think the production by Fox, for me, was spot on. I felt all the build up, the colors they use, I felt everything. The production.
They're coming for the zone. They're coming for the zone.
I mean, the thing is, I think they're on two different models, because obviously they're pay-per-view and free to air, and the zone a subscription. So,
but in terms of the content, you're always going to be comparing as a fan. You're going to think,
I think the zone's content is actually pretty good. I think because it's very like clever, it's modern, it's creative. You look at even some of the Joshua Ruiz stuff. You look at the Canelo Kovalev stuff. So I like the content. I've got enough. I think the zone are good for boxing.
Fantastic. The zone are fantastic, but I do think Al Heyman's always got something up his sleeve.
Of course,
I think they're trying to, right now, DAZN are spending money. We're seeing the benefits of having a lot of money being pumped into DAZN and the channel.
They went to Goldman Sachs for 500 million to try and raise 500 million.
Yes, I did see that, because that's the money. They're looking to just really get the fan base, get people in love with the product, and then all of a sudden the subscriptions are going to go up. This model happens time and time again. We look at like Eddie Hearn said, they're about to become the Netflix of sport and boxing, and Perform 365 are operating in a number of different territories. That's who ultimately own the brand and trademark of DAZN. So they're in football, boxing, basketball, everything, but boxing is really what they want to try and develop their niche into. So I'm doing unbelievable at the moment. How long they'll be doing it for, I think that's what Al's waiting for them to bleed themselves dry and make the cuts and increase and have all these changes. And then I think that's when we start seeing the fighters move around and say, "Al, what you got for me?" Or
I mean, I don't even think you'll see. I'll be honest, I don't even think that's more of a. I think what he's waiting for, if we're going to be honest, and I think I said this last week, I think he's waiting to see what Showtime's reaction is going to be to Fox, because Fox are going to take all the big PPC fights. So Showtime are going to have to go to their daddy CBS and say, "Listen, we need more money if you still want to compete."
But who's going to promote the show, though? You think Al's not going to move on course to show?
So Showtime are owned by CBS. So my point is, if you go to CBS, it's essentially Showtime or Espinosa saying, "Listen, Lady Moves, CBS, we need more money to get more fights on," because at the moment, all the premium fights essentially are going to Fox. And there was an interview with this guy, Billy Wagner, and he's more or less said the same thing. He said, "Listen, we pick which fights we want." So you would imagine they're going to pick the best fights. So I think
get that, but I don't see show. I think they're going to go out of business.
I mean, that's more than possible as well.
We've seen HBO.
Yeah,
they're going to go out of business, or they're going to partner with a streaming partner. Like that's the only way going forward. I cannot see Showtime being, unless they get a big boy promoter.
I think they'll stay with PBC. I think unless. So
you think Show and Fox are going to be happy with PBC being the sole promoter?
Well, at the moment, that's how
they're
it is.
Going to get top rank, or do you think they'll get top rank?
I mean, maybe
they've got the deal with ESPN.
That's what I was going to say. So it's unlikely they're going to get top rank. They're not going to get Matchroom. So that's what I'm saying. And at the moment, that's how it's flexed. So you've got Wilder that was on Fox, and then you've got the Tank Davis Gamboa fight, which will be on Showtime. I think the Charlo fights will be on Showtime. So
they're just playing each other off until
BBC are just saying, which one do you want? But Fox have really funded in terms of they're prepared to put investment in, so that's why they're getting the Errol Spence Jr. Porter. That's why they got Pacquiao Thurman. That's why they got Wilder Ortiz.
No, okay.
So I mean, what I will say, and we're going to move to another topic, is I hope Sky Sports pull their finger out. And I said this again. I hope Sky Sports start doing something, because I think there's a huge opportunity for them.
You got to look at their new acquisition in terms of Barney Francis. former managing director, is now kind of CEO of Comcast and Sport of the Future. So he's definitely looking to digitalize Sky Sports to the full capacity and everything. Watch the space for him because he's a serious guy behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But,
on the other fight on the weekend, we had John Ryder, or I'll say Callum Smith, taking on John Ryder. I think that was really the big fight of the weekend that was taking place in the UK.
Definitely.
Slightly controversial. Callum Smith got a decision. Wide points. I mean, we were talking like 117, 111, 116, 112s. What were your thoughts on that fight?
I watched quite a lot of it. I watched the kind of latter part of the fight because I just got in.
Uh-huh.
And Callum Smith didn't look himself.
Raving it up, yeah. what he's chasing.
Yeah. No comment.
Yeah.
Callum Smith, he looked that didn't look like the Callum Smith that absolutely obliterated George Groves. That looked like a guy whose
styles makes fights, bro.
That looks like a guy that's a bit rusty. It looks like a guy that's had a lot on his mind, that's been through a lot and hasn't really been able to get out as much as he wanted to.
Yeah.
John Ryder, credit to him. Absolute credit to him. I feel that if it's another type of ref interpreting that fight differently, I think it's a draw or kind of going towards Ryder's way. But
I mean, I think the big thing you've got there is he was never going to get, unless he knocked him out, he wasn't going to get
in his home city.
It's Anfield, it's Liverpool. The Zone obviously want him to fight your Billy Joes, Canelo.
No, of course. That always plays a factor in judges' minds. No matter even if they have to be impartial, whatever, they're going to see the media content. They're going to have all of that. So they're going to naturally just root for, the kind of home turf. But John Ryder, a boy from London who's, came from absolutely nothing, went to boxing the hard way. I'm not sure if he had a big kind of GB out of that from my knowledge. I
mean, he's had losses. He's
been through it all. I mean, he went to exactly. You know, Ryder's there to be with the best, and I think that's done. If anything, if I was John Ryder, and if you're listening, John Ryder, I would say that I would say to you, please keep your head held high. I think you've just kind of proven to the scene that you're up there with some of the best quality fighters in Britain, European level, and even worldwide. I think just keep plugging away in the gym and keeping yourself. I
mean, but it is hard. And I'll pick up. There's a guy, Craig Scott. He did a good article on this, and it was kind of saying, look, we need to start judging the refs as well and the judges, because it's like, they just make the decision, they just go home. Whereas you got these fighters, especially someone like Ryder, who's nearly 30 plus. Like, he's had a few losses. This was a huge opportunity. He had worked himself up, and he had worked himself up through the right way through the WBA rankings to get this opportunity, and it was really taken from him. And like you were saying, everything what you said about Callum Smith, I think I would do the opposite and say, listen, John Ryder absolutely took it to Smith. I mean,
he did.
This guy was throwing uppercuts, working the body. He was all on his chest, didn't give him a time to breathe. I think the height difference also made it, because Callum Smith was very tall for super middle. So he just couldn't get his jab. He couldn't work out the range. And I think there were some really good rounds for Ryder. Where they were, in my opinion, there weren't any very good rounds for Callum Smith. And even if you look at the intensity of punches thrown, punches landed, he beat him in all those areas. So a lot of people don't like the stats, but I think for me, the stats showed that he was winning the fight.
But we've got to look at the previous kind of fights. Even I'm just double checking now, but his past 4 or 5 fights have been KO, TKO, TKO. Like, he's really, really improving and really developing that punch power. And I felt, it's just unfortunate. I think had it been at the O2, it would have been a different type of show. I mean, the thing is, I think he was always on a lose, because he's not the favorite fighter. He's not the home fighter, regardless of where he's London. Matchroom, DAZN, they got plans. If Callum Smith had lost that belt, and think about it, let's just look at Callum Smith had lost, and then Joshua potentially loses against Ruiz in 2 weeks, bro. That means a lot for their stable. So of course.
I think definitely, and that's the negotiating for the Billy Joe fight. So I think Ryder, I think he done himself an immense amount of credit. I think he can definitely come back. I think a lot of people wrote him off. I think he can come back. He can still push on. I think Callum Smith, a lot of people are going to want to fight him now.
Who's Ryder fighting next?
I don't even know. I mean, Ryder is going to have to lick his wounds and then just kind of remap it.
No, of course.
They don't want the rematch. So when they don't want the rematch, it means it's tough. Maybe some of the other youth champions might say, you know what, I'll give him a go. Unlikely, though. So yes, I thought that was good. Then we're going to go on to the MTK show that took place down at York Hall. For those of you that are not aware, MTK, they've got a great concept called a Golden Contract. Essentially, it's kind of like a tournament similar to the World Boxing Super Series, but with probably your tier 3 type boxers. So they're not world class, they're not really European class. They're trying to make their breakthrough. Got to shout out my guy Jeff Ofori. Was on an MTK show previously in Liverpool, fought a week later and got 2 wins, and he was real underdog. So spoke to him. I say, guys, look out for him. He's a decent talent. O'Hara Davis was kind of the headline for that show. He beat Logan Yoon.
Tanks OD.
Made his big apology. I thought it was an okay performance from him. I felt that, given the underdog status that Logan Yoon had come in with, all his reputation around the amateurs, I felt Two Tanks did everything right. He was always ready with the right hand to land. He kept the jab at ease.
O'Hara did what O'Hara does best. Yeah,
and I think at the end they made the guys retire on the stool because he was clumping in with some big right. So fair play to him. I think definitely he's got to move on. Interesting to see who he fights next. Everyone wants the McKenna fight. I'm not too sure that will happen. But Tyron McKenna took on Sachi. Dominant performance, really nothing to really rave home about. But overall, got to say, fair play. MTK are really doing good stuff. For those of you that are not aware, they've even got set up an academy where they're looking for young fighters as well. So if you've got young fighters that want to get involved in the game, go onto MTK's Instagram page and you definitely see more about that. So guys, listen, we're coming up to the time of truth. We are now opening the lines.
Yes.
Looking forward to hearing what the callers have got to say and getting their feedback. So we're going to go to 985, Mr. Appiah, our resident. And I think he got a prediction right last week. How you doing, Daniel?
How we doing, sir? How you doing?
Hello, mate. You okay?
You good?
Yeah, I'm good, fellas. Good show as usual.
Thank you.
Basically, you lot was talking about some mouth-watering fights potentially in the heavyweight division, which is got a bit of teeth now, isn't it?
Yes,
got a bit of teeth in that.
Definitely, brother.
Now.
Definitely.
But Kojo, I did get a prediction right. Quite happy about that one.
I knew he was going to say that.
Why not?
Yeah, quite happy about that one. So, Wilder knocking out Ortiz in the 7th round. I called that last week.
You did, mate.
And nice one. And Wilder's the man, as we know. And I'm looking forward to seeing him fight Tyson Fury in February. And I can only see it going one way now.
Really?
I can only see it going one way, Jake. Yep. I can only see it going one way.
What's the way? What way is that, mate?
That's going to Deontay Wilder. I think it will be. We can. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I mean, what's changed? I mean, probably you're going to say the knockout that he's displayed, but what's changed or what's made you think that it's going his way?
Just past performances. Just the patience he has as well. Just the patience he has as well, and I think he'll just wait for his moment. I think we all know how the fight's going to go between him and Tyson Fury. Fury's going to be probably out for most rounds, but there's going to be a time when he's going to lose his concentration for a split second. I'm back, and it's going to be lights out.
Yeah.
Game over.
Yeah.
That's what's going to happen. So, that's what I feel. That's what I feel is going to happen.
Love it.
That's what I feel is going to happen. And then basically, Wilder said he wanted to unify the division. I think he beats Fury, unifies the division, has a fight after that or whatever, and then he should just call it a day, really. We're forgetting
100%.
30.
100%. 40 plus fights. I think this is his way to leave boxing. I think he wants to. I think he would have to go for the Joshua fight first, or Joshua Andy Ruiz winner, or Ruiz Joshua winner. And then from there, I think once he unifies, I don't think he's going to care about becoming undisputed. I think he's going to go for the unification and leave as one of the deadliest punchers of heavyweight boxing.
And Daniel, quick question for you. I'm going to ask all the callers: Is he the most dangerous puncher you've seen in boxing since you started watching?
Kojo, that's a hard one. There's some deadly there's been some deadly guys, isn't there?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he's got to be up there, isn't he?
Yeah,
Definitely.
I think he's
Definitely.
up there.
Top 3.
He's got to be up
His
there.
name's mentioned in the conversation.
100. I mean, even if you look at
He's
like
got to be up there.
your Triple G's of the world, like, I mean, there's a lot of guys that way before my time, and I didn't watch them. You know, they talk about Shavers, Foreman.
Yeah.
I've just seen the YouTube, but guys that I've seen in like Tyson, do you see what I'm saying? Like, yeah, Inoue's up there as well. Just some serious punches. So listen, Dan, what's your thoughts? Any comment on the Callum Smith Ryder fight?
Callum Smith, Ryder, I thought, Ryder done really, really well, obviously. He should have ended up a winner. Obviously, a few people are going to be looking at Callum Smith now and thinking, you know, wouldn't mind getting a bit of that. We'll just see what happens over the next few weeks or whatever. But 2020 going to be another great year for boxing.
Unbelievable,
coming up.
Yeah.
Who do you guys want to see Callum Smith fight next?
Oh, I want to see him move up in weight. To be honest, I'd love to see him move up. He's in the middle at the moment. I want to see him mix it with the bigger guys.
Okay.
I do want to see him do that.
Give us a name. I'll put you on the
what light heavyweight.
Yeah,
I can see him Canelo at that weight.
I guess Canelo. Yeah, you don't know what
Canelo's not.
He's super middle,
crazy.
light heavy. Yeah, so I guess you're saying Canelo. I mean, yeah, I probably would have said. I would have said Canelo. Do you know what? After seeing a Ryder fight, but I think the size is probably going to be too much for him. To be fair, I would either say a Eubank just for the energy that Eubank brings,
definitely.
just for the energy.
He's gone down in weight now. He's
gone. This is the only thing. Yeah, so he's staying at middleweight. But if he stayed at super middle, obviously Groves beat Eubank and Eubank got knocked out by Callum Smith. But it's just with the pressure I saw Ryder apply. I feel that Eubank's got that kind of like energy and stamina to potentially do that.
I see him fighting a yard. I'd like to see that.
Yeah,
I know I'm going to put
Who's going on there?
Yard or Boatsi, I think.
Yeah, so D, we're going to move on to the next caller, but I appreciate your call as always. And take care. We'll speak next week. Cheers, man.
No doubt.
Cheers. We're going. This is anonymous, but we rarely get this anonymous. So I'm thinking it's hello. Hello, Big Unks. How you doing, sir? You well?
Hello, guys. It's Benga again.
Yes.
Hello.
I don't know why you got me as anonymous.
Yeah, I don't know why. I'll show it comes up as anonymous. So I don't know.
Okay. Well,
yeah.
Okay. Have me down as Benga.
Yes.
So, guys,
appreciate that.
I was the guy who a couple of weeks ago spoke to Deontay Wilder.
Yes, I remember you. I remember. Yeah.
I told him to just keep doing what he's doing.
Yeah.
That it may not be the most skillful, but clearly he's doing something right.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
I watched the fight with my nephews and my brothers, and I was thinking, I gave Ortiz every round because Ortiz is a
every round. I gave him every round. Yeah,
he's a real Cuban technician.
Yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
The problem I have with Ortiz is, from what I hear, he may actually be over 50 years old in reality. So
yeah,
the guy can box, and you know, I don't know what. If he kept touching Wilder.
Yeah.
Though Wilder was trying to be defensively responsible, but he was able to touch.
Yeah, he set up.
I saw some things which Wilder has improved, not his skill level, but he was trying to be, like I said, more defensively responsible. But you know what? I mean, that right hand. I thought the ref could have been kinder to Ortiz because there was, I mean, the bell had gone. He clipped him right at the end. I'm not sure. Maybe they say he didn't beat the count.
Yeah.
But I thought the ref could have been kinder to him and let him come out for the next round. But you know what? It is what it is. I do disagree with one or two things that have been said tonight, and I will go on to Callum. I do not believe people should think just because he knocked out Ortiz that means he's going to knock out Tyson Fury. If we're being sincere, any sincere and honest appraisal would tell us right at this moment, Tyson Fury probably deserves to be the best heavyweight in the world.
Yeah.
I'm not a Tyson Fury. I'm not a Tyson Fury.
No, but I definitely hear you.
No, definitely.
Styles make fights.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I was one of those who predicted that Tyson Fury would beat Vladimir Klitschko.
Yeah.
All those years ago.
You did.
And I'm going to throw something in the mix, which because in boxing, don't always look for the obvious.
Yes, I was going to say we need
Freddie
that as
Roach,
well.
Yeah, Freddie Roach said something.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when everybody was praising Tyson Fury's performance in the first fight, he said Freddie Roach was critical, having been in Fury camp, because he felt Tyson Fury had the capability to knock Deontay Wilder out. And I can see that. He's going to touch Deontay Wilder a lot. He's going to be sharper. You know, he's now had several fights. You know, my prediction, if I get it wrong,
that's life.
No, that's life. I've got my predictions.
I'm going for Tyson Fury, the Gypsy King, best heavyweight in the world right now.
Yeah,
and I'm an AJ fan.
Yeah,
love it.
Tyson Fury right now. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we heard it here first.
We heard it. No. And I think, look, I think that's why that fight, if I'm going to be honest, is the most eagerly anticipated rematch. Really, that's going to take place next year because
absolutely
they're both undefeated. It's a clash of styles.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, sometimes people think Fury is the clown because he's comedic. Yeah, but look, behind all that comedy and all of that,
it's a serious.
You know, I was never a fan of his. He beats guys who I like, guys, you know, like Derek Chisora on the way up. And, you know, Don Charles is a great friend of mine.
Yeah.
But you know what? Look, I have to give credit where every time I thought I kept seeing new things with this guy. So after a while, I realized, oh, this guy is going to beat Klitschko.
Yeah.
I wasn't shocked.
Yeah.
And he did in Germany. I'm not, you know, look, he's as they say, you know, I know they say, boy, he's the Gypsy King. He's a fighting man.
He is.
And, you know, you can't. I mean, let's call it a spade. We may not always like him, but he's the real deal.
Exactly.
Now,
they both are. Yep.
Now, the main thing I want to talk about, okay, is what guys raised on Callum Smith. I am not someone who is enamored of Callum Smith at all. I do not think he's anywhere near as good as people seem to think he is.
Yep.
And I'm going to put it in context because if people think I have a bias, let me own up. I've always been a big George Groves fan for a long time.
Yes.
Here we go. The truth is coming out.
but that's not what I'm saying.
I know. We're teasing. Yeah.
I felt that Chris Eubank Jr. Actually won the fight for Callum Smith against George Groves because that injury in the last minute when his shoulder went and then he had to have surgery. So my concern going into that fight, you know, because of Groves had to rush for the money, you know, paying them a lot of money.
Yeah.
But Groves was not right. Groves has got one of the best left jabs, you know, but he wasn't functioning correctly, and he was vulnerable. So I don't like making excuses, but we all saw what happened.
Yeah.
So I personally think that performance was overrated. I mean, if you look at it in his two other fights in the Super Series, the first and the second fight, he didn't look that spectacular against lesser fighters. Let's be honest. I mean, everybody's talking.
Yeah, the Swedish guy.
You know, the Smith brothers and all that. Pardon my French, all that bull.
Yeah.
Not against Ryder.
Yeah.
That is his true level. They fed him some journey man in America who was basically a victim.
That was a
Ryder is not a world-class fighter. Ryder is just a good, solid, domestic level fighter. But he had something about he took it to, and Ryder won the fight.
Yeah. And Uncle Banger, sorry, we've got a few callers, Uncle, so I'm gonna have to move on because we've given you a long time. But I appreciate you calling in. Appreciate all the support as well as usual.
Banger, appreciate
so we're just gonna move on, but please stay on and obviously hear the other callers as well. But thank you for your calling in. Respect, thank you. Cheers. Like 734. We're gonna try and get through all the calls today, guys. So stay on the line. 734, Mr. Dwayne. How you doing, sir? Behind the clock.
Yeah, what's up, bro? What's up, man? Yeah,
we're good, man. Below the belt. How you doing?
What's going on?
Yeah, not too bad, man. Just fighting off some man flu, you know.
Man, it's the season,
I
right?
think everyone's got it besides me. I'm super about that.
Here we go.
Vegan diet.
Game changes.
I've been building up some fucking kale and cucumbers and all kinds of shit.
Just add citrus and ginger, you'll be good. What's your thought? What's on your mind, bro?
Oh, come on, man. It's all about Wilder, really, isn't it? Fucking hell, bro.
So you watched the fight?
Yeah, damn right. You see the thing, yeah, that I think it was either one of the callers or you guys said it, yeah, that what Wilder's perfected between the last Fury fight and where we stand now is that straight right hand is down the pipe.
Yeah.
He's not throwing it wild anymore.
Yes.
That's what's making it so precise.
Crisp. Yeah.
Exactly. And the distance, even this one was a short one. That was just wow.
Everyone just went, if you saw the reaction of the crowd.
Yeah, exactly. That's another giveaway.
Do you know that right hand that put Ortiz down was so fast? I was watching the fight, I didn't even see it. I was like, what happened there?
Yeah.
I did a replay.
So, bro, you were watching the fight live, yeah?
5 a.m. in the morning.
Yeah. So, can I ask, like,
that's right.
I want to get into your mindset when you're watching it because for me, I'll be honest, I was watching it and I always felt Wilder's going to come good. But even by the way Ortiz just steamrolled the fight, was winning all the rounds, I'll be honest, I even forgot that Wilder's got the equalizer. I know that sounds mad, but it was like I'm watching it. I'm like, "Fuck, is Ortiz really gonna do it?
Really about to do it?" Because I don't want to non-English.
I don't know. What was your thoughts? Yeah, what was your thoughts?
I felt like Wilder was too reliant on the right hand, and he was on the verge of taking the L.
Yes.
But to win the way he won, there's two things I was saying to my friend to bear in mind with Wilder's mindset. Yeah, and it exhibits or it manifests in that ring walk, bro.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And that knockout, like what you need to bear in mind with this guy Wilder, is he is like basically a functioning psychopath. Like he believes so much in what he does. That's why he took the risk for the whole fight to wait for that one punch. But that's what makes him dangerous at the same time.
I totally agree with you.
Because you know, like when like they say, like a madman has the strength of 10 men, kind of thing. Like, even when I'm walking down the road, like, I can see 10 guys with hoodies on you and have no concern. But if I saw one man walking, screaming and yelling all by himself, I'm crossing the road, you know?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, that analogy's real. That analogy's real.
You know what I'm saying?
Almost as
like,
funny
when
as...
you're dealing with a madman, it's a different ballgame. And that's what I think you're dealing with when you're dealing with Wilder. And I guess what equalizes that balance is Fury is also a madman.
Yep.
You know, and that's when you get that clash of complete self-belief. So, but I think it's something you said, Coach, as well, where when you look at the two fights that Wilder's had and the two that Fury's had, Wilder's shown more improvement. The improvement I can see with Wilder is that more that right going down the pipe rather than over like the hook, you know, where you can see it coming a mile off.
Exactly. And you saw that so much in the first two fights of Fury and Ortiz. But
exactly. He would normally just... he'd normally just be throwing crazy. But another thing to consider as well is that with this Ortiz fight, I think what he was doing, because I've had to watch the fight a few times to really get it now, but I think he was literally playing the fool to catch the wise.
Yes.
He knew that he couldn't outsmart Ortiz.
Yes.
So we had to get Ortiz comfortable enough to keep coming in closer, coming in closer.
Yes.
Bang.
That made that 1-2 even more emphatic. Yeah. And that's when I kind of... the way I agree with you, that's when I kind of thought that, you know, Wilder is really adapting to his game because he knows everyone thinks he's not the best boxer, he's not this. So, okay, let me play the game a little bit. Exactly. You know, let me play the game. All right, you can get me with a couple of jabs. But yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
Yeah.
And also, if he takes that approach with Fury, as far as not chasing him around the ring, Fury's going to have to come a bit more forward.
Yes.
So it's almost like indirectly closing the space, if you know what I mean.
Is what I'm saying. That's why the fight is just taking so much different turns because what you're saying, I agree. I don't think Fury can be on the back foot this time around.
Nah, no way.
Nah.
And you know what? I just wanted to pick up on something that you said, and it's like playing the fool to catch wise. I think that's why I asked you what was your mindset going through it, because, like I said, I was thinking, shit, he's about to take an L.
Same.
But I'm starting to, I don't know, I really feel that people that are in the ring with him and Ortiz and maybe Fury, I'm not saying definitely, but maybe, I think they might also start to feel like that as well. So after 7 rounds of just winning, you might be thinking, this is easy. And you don't realize it, but your mind starts saying this is easier. And you just, even if it's a millimeter, you show that millimeter opening to Wilder, and then he capitalizes. And that's how I felt he dealt with Saturday. But I can't wait for the Fury rematch.
No, Fury's going to be big.
And just, and just to add on to that point there with the millimeters and so forth, right? When you see the truth of Wilder, is in slow motion.
Yeah.
His face was just normal, right? And as soon as he put that right hand, his whole facial expression changed, Rob, and he generated that power in milliseconds. Wham! Out. Over.
That's a great point. That's a great point, yeah.
Yeah, watch it in slow motion and you'll see it. His face he just looks normal. And as soon as he pulls the trigger on that right hand, his whole expression changes. And that was like, it was literally like a sniper on top of a roof. Like, he just waited for that one shot. You have to take your hat off. You have to respect it, man.
Yeah.
You have to.
So just a quick one for you, though. Who would you like to see? I was going to ask everyone the same question, but I'm going to ask you a different one. Who would you like to see Ortiz fight next? If you had a choice.
First thought that comes to mind, Dillian White.
Jeez,
I think it's all three for Dillian White.
Yes. Hey, make it happen, DAZN. Make it happen.
Yeah.
What is it that you like about that fight?
Be a good fight? Because I think they're both in a similar space, not as far as taking losses and so forth. But
and not in age either.
They're still fringe contenders. Not in age. But they're fringe contenders.
Yeah.
They're respected in the game.
Yeah.
As we know, AJ is tied up with Ruiz. Wilder's tied up with Fury. Like, who is Dillian White going to fight that has a credible name? I think Ortiz would be a good name for him to take on.
Absolutely, 100%. He needs to. I think that's the best move for him, because that really does put him up there, and I think it does send the question to Mauricio Solomon and the WBC and say, look, 700, 600 plus days, I'm still coming for you. I'm knocking on those doors because I'm getting that title from Wilder.
Yeah.
I think so. I think that, and I would agree. I think we spoke. I think everyone's saying Dillian White. So D, I just quickly get your thoughts. If you watched it, did you watch the Callum Smith Ryder fight? Any thoughts on that?
I didn't watch it, but I've got an opinion. I think something to bear in mind with Callum Smith is how could he possibly have been up for a fight against Ryder? No disrespect, but I mean, this guy's gone from Muhammad Ali trophy, Ring Magazine belts, all this glory, and then he's just getting put on a Saturday night, no pay-per-view, no big deal fight. It's like, I can't really imagine he was highly motivated. I think a motivated Callum Smith was still dangerous. You know?
Good point.
Yeah, I agree with that, Dwayne, because I also said earlier in the show, if you're listening, he's had a lot going on in his mind. He's wanted to be out there a bit more often than normal. He wants to kind of get the bigger paydays. He's always thinking, I've heard he's also thinking about kind of calling it a day because he reached the title. You know, he's had a lot going through his mind. So
I think, that motivation is definitely a good point. So, Dwayne, we're going to move to the next caller, man. But appreciate you calling in. Listen, we're going to try and do a special show for post Joshua Ruiz, the rematch. I'll be in touch, and hopefully you can drop down to the studio as well.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And we're on the verge of anyway, working on something. I'm working on something. Yeah,
always, man.
Cheers, Dwayne.
Right, speaking a bit, bro.
Respect, guys.
All right, cheers, man.
All right, cool.
Cheers, bro. 348. That's Mr. Tom Lyons. How you doing, sir?
How's things, you guys?
All good.
Really
How you doing, mate? You right?
Mate?
Yeah, good. Thanks. Good.
What's your thoughts on the on the old Wilder versus Ortiz?
Yeah, just to pick it up where Dwayne left off. I mean, I said it last week on the show. The way Wilder's setting up these right hands now, he's using it clinically. You know, he's getting rid of his opponents quicker and more effectively with the right hand. I think before he was too eager to be wild and to just excite the fans, but now he's setting up on his shots a lot better. He's not really kind of too worried about creating that drama. I think it just the right hand speaks for itself. The impact that it has, the way he sets it up, and although for the 6 rounds leading up to the knockout, Ortiz was boxing beautifully. He was side on. The right hand weren't really there to throw, but it was a weird one. It was like a flash knockout. Like you switch off a split second, and that's the threat that's in front of you with Wilder. He's able to land that right hand, and it's good night. And I think with Fury now, I mean, I'm struggling to back against Wilder. I think Wilder will win that fight. Now looking at the way he's got rid of Brazil, the way he got rid of Ortiz, I know Fury moves with a lot more fluidity and he's more nimble on his feet. But I mean, there's going to come a time where that right hand's going to land and he's going to be in a bit of trouble. And it's just dependent on how devastating he lands. And like Dwayne said, whether it's down the pipe or not, if it's on the top of the head, it could be a whole different story. You know, scramble his senses and. Yeah, so.
Just a question on that. I mean, because I know obviously you know your boxing, so you obviously you study the game.
I try.
But from a Fury, because it's interesting to you say that. So I want to ask you. So for you, what do you think? Is it? Do you think it's that Fury can't? What do you think? Is it just that Fury will not avoid that right hand? Given in the rematch he got up twice, do you think that's not possible to do this time around?
I think Fury's shown that he can still. He can hurt Wilder. He can engage, but I mean, it just depends on what tactics they're going to adopt. Are they going to start more aggressive this time? Are they going to box the same they did the last time on the back foot? And then when Wilder's a little bit negative, are they going to come in close and try and throw that 1-2? Because I think Fury, like obviously he out of purest boxing fans, we know that he's probably the best boxer besides Ortiz, who showed on the weekend with the best IQ. So, I mean, Fury's not going to want to stand in front of him. Like he's felt Wilder's power now. He's not going to be naive and try and stand in the pocket and trade. Yeah. But I'm not saying that there's not going to be a time where he's gonna have to exchange, because, I mean, you can't avoid that right hand. The way Wilder's got such long levers, he can close distance down just by throwing a jab, or just like even setting up to throw that right hand. So
yeah, no, that's a good point. And on the Callum Smith Ryder fight, did you watch that at all?
Oh, yeah, man, that was shocking. Yeah. Like I thought, I'm not gonna sit here and say, scream a robbery, but it's not nice to see when, especially you've got someone like Ryder who brought absolutely everything, was aggressive. He made Smith look terrible. Like he smothered Smith's work and didn't allow him to do what he does best. Because even like you'd have expected Smith to box on the outside and keep it long, and even then he didn't really throw much. Like I couldn't possibly see Smith winning many of the rounds because of the way Ryder was coming forward, and like you said, throwing uppercuts, hooks, going to the body. I just thought like the variety that Ryder was showing, although the early rounds were cagey, as they settled into the fight, the variety and the volume they were showing was, that Ryder was showing was, I mean, class. Like, I thought he won the fight by at least a round, maybe 2. I just don't get it anymore. Like with these judges, like it's devastating to see, because you could see the fury and pain in Ryder's his voice.
Exactly.
He knew that he got robbed.
Yeah. And I think you raised a good point there when you spoke about smothered him. I think Ryder just didn't allow Smith to fight the fight he wanted to. Ryder made Smith fight his fight, and it was just...
And it was all the wrong style for him.
Yep.
It was all the wrong style for him.
Yeah. No, great points there. Just quickly, I want to get your thoughts on Joshua Ruiz landed in Saudi Arabia. Joshua's taking over his sparring partners. Looking forward to the Saudi Arabia rematch?
Yeah, I mean, it's what time is it going to be shown live?
It's 5 o'clock. It's UK time.
Yeah, I heard something like that.
It is going to be
around 9.
Around UK time. So
yeah,
I think there's another sporting event happening before, and I think after that's when it kicks off with Joshua.
Okay, fine.
But yeah, I have heard
probably about 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock for you guys in the UK. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, now the undercard is looking fire.
Yeah.
Got Hunter, Hrgovic,
Povetkin.
big fighters on that card.
Yeah, exactly.
Povetkin's going to try and make a name for
hopefully
himself.
Dillian White's on there as well. So
Dillian White, exactly.
And last one, because I know you I didn't get to catch you, but MTK Golden Contract. Looking forward to good show, right?
Yeah, no, apologies for that. I had a bit of a sore head, a bit of a headache that night. So
we all know what that means, mate.
That's it. Sore head. No, but yeah, good show. Standout performances for me, say Tyron McKenna and Mamoon. I think they both were the eye-catching ones. But yeah, now shout out to Jeff Ofori. I'm delighted for him because he's like a small hall fighter, and
exactly.
the way the business is, like there's not a lot of these top prospects that are given a massive platform like that, and he's boxed twice on the bounce on an MTK show, so now he's reaping the rewards for being patient, staying in the gym, and I mean, I think Ara Davis he did what he had to do, but I mean, I can see Mamoon winning the tournament. If I had to put money on someone winning, I'd choose Mamoon. Nice. I think he was the standout for me.
Good, man. All right, Tom. So listen, we're going to leave you to it, but definitely we'll be speaking, and hopefully for the Joshua rematch post fight show, we'll cut you down. But thank you for calling in as always. Appreciate it.
Okay.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers. Going out to 041. Hello.
Hi, Kojo. How you doing?
Not too bad.
Yeah, man. Today's show has been very, very interesting, man. Some very interesting callers, especially Benga, man.
Yeah,
man, the man knows his stuff.
Shout out to Mr. Benga.
Shout out to Mr. Benga. No, Beng, how you doing, sir? Remember you last week? You were punch bag Ortiz PBO.
Yeah, man. I have to apologize for that, though. But still, I can qualify that, man. Yes, okay. Because the way that I see it, right? Wilder was comfortable. He didn't need to go for that punching bag because the punching bag was coming at him, throwing very weak punches, right? Yeah. And he was hardly touching the guy. So Wilder was able to be composed and knowing that whatever happens at the later round, Wilder knew that Ortiz couldn't drop him from the first 7 rounds that he felt. So he would be feeling comfortable. Right, he knew that once while Ortiz is doing a lot of work, he's gonna get tired by 7, 8, 9, 10. And if Wilder needed to, the last 2 rounds he would have just descended. So all I'm trying to say is that Wilder got it good, so he was able to compose. If he had a shorter person, like Ruiz, I know Ruiz would take the punch and drop, but if Ruiz was ahead 7 rounds, like how Ortiz was, Wilder's face would have been cut up. Wilder would have got agitated. He wouldn't have been as comfortable. So Wilder would have had to start swinging, and he would have been doing his stupid uppercut, stupid punches and everything, and would have given Ruiz an opening. Because from what I saw, if anybody is busy with Wilder, short man jumping in like Tyson used to do and everything, making Wilder busy, right? For 7 rounds, Wilder would have never been composed. So I'll give you. I'll say one thing. Do you think that if it was Tyson Fury up 7 rounds against Wilder would have been composed like that? No way.
The only argument I would say, bro, and like you asked a question, I will say this. I mean, bro, I need to go back, but bro, I wouldn't have even, if I'm being honest, Wilder knocked Fury down the first time in the 9th round and the 12th round, and you would probably say by the 9th round he probably was 7 rounds down as well. So that's one thing I have to say. I give Wilder his credit because he does maintain the patience.
No. Hold on a second, Coach. Hold on, please. Right. For that fight, Wilder was not as composed as he was with this guy.
Yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Yes, he knocked him down. Yes, he knocked him down 7-9, but he wasn't as composed. Wilder was throwing Hail Marys.
Yes, agreed. But what I mean more that because you said if it was 7-0, would he still get? I think he was 7 rounds down when he knocked Fury down in the 9th round in their first fight. In my opinion,
no, he was more than that. I think you're being generous there.
Probably, yeah. But I mean, exactly. But I think he was down. So I think I'm not saying he was composed, but I'm saying that I think maybe composed was the wrong word, but he still sticks to his game plan. Is that if he's gonna get the opening, Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, bro.
Everyone gets a chance in boxing, though, man.
I think So from your point of view, I mean, obviously, I won't say you were impressed or not impressed with Ortiz. But would you like to see Ortiz fight some more credible opponents?
Ortiz. Listen to Mr. Benga, man. Ortiz is 50 plus. He's like a pound playing in the Premiership. You know what I'm saying? There's no hiding on that.
He's older.
I don't.
But honestly, my point is, but
look at the knockout.
We need to take Ortiz out of the equation because anybody who fights Ortiz it's just about cash money. You want to make money. That fight ain't gonna go nowhere. It doesn't prove anything to nobody.
So I've got to stop you there because I just feel
if you want to be fighting, at the moment, really and truly, you want to be fighting a slim down Ruiz. You want to be fighting a more Tyson Fury who has now had more fights coming back. These are the two real people that you really want to fight. Anybody else is just coming in for just the money and gun.
No, I understand that point, sir. But you gotta also be able to look at the fact that before Wilder was the man before, and Ortiz was the first one to arguably test him and put him on the ropes. And people said he was lucky. So for him, it was about, look, I need to conquer my demons. I need to kind of nip that in the bud. And he did that in emphatic fashion. And I get the way he boxed was absolutely, just typical Wilder, just looking for that punch. But it was the way he was able to deliver what he was able to do. That 1-2 was so unexpected, so sharp, so crisp. Look at the reaction of Ortiz trying to remove the gum shield from his mouth with his mitts because he was that shocked. For a 50-year-old man, you've seen it all. You've seen it all, though. For someone to do that?
My brother, listen. You do that 1-2, you drop Fury comes back up again. What the fuck are you gonna do, Wilder?
No,
I'm coming for you.
Yeah, and I agree.
Yeah, I'm up. Listen. So sorry, guys. Let me just say this, right?
Go for it.
Ortiz, Fury was up. Was up on points. Yeah, this guy knocked him down and he came back. Blah blah blah. Right. The next time around, what do you think Fury is going to be doing? Right. He knows his game plan is this guy is going to come up with a blinder, but that's all he's got. I know that I've got his digits. Fury will fuck up Wilder about it. Man.
I mean, listen. This is what I'm saying.
This fight is exciting.
Listen, anybody who rushes Wilder, I swear you, man. If Ruiz can take those punches, if he's always jumping in, rushing Wilder will go off script.
But I think the key thing,
people are getting too carried away with that 1-2 punch.
Nah, but it was because, bro, I think you have to appreciate that in boxing.
Anyway, that's my opinion.
You're not seeing exactly, and it's all opinions.
No,
I think you're not seeing it.
Valid.
But I think the key, I like what you're saying about rushing. I think, look, there's definitely a way to beat Wilder. It's not even just running. I don't even think it's just rushing. I even think it's from a point of, because look, for me, Fury doesn't have the power, but I'm not saying he can't get a knockout, but I think it's not just the rushing, it's just being evasive. And the only guy I could see being able to do that is Fury, because he's got the height, he's got the reach, and he's got the IQ, plus the nous and confidence. I do think you can't downplay, though, the fact that everybody saw that knockout and was like, because Fury will need to win 12 rounds. That's 36 minutes. That's 40, that's 50 minutes. That's 50 minutes if you want to include the breaks. Like, Wilder will just need the 10 seconds. And I'm not saying Wilder's gonna. I'm not even saying Wilder's gonna win.
Did Wilder not wear? Listen, did Wilder not have an interview next day with glasses, sunglasses, and busted lip and stuff when he fought Fury?
Yes.
Or it was another fight.
And no, that was that fight. And did Fury not have a dent in his forehead, bro?
Yeah.
He had a dent.
Forget about Fury. We're talking about Wilder. All I'm just trying to tell you that Wilder is susceptible. So if he gets somebody
100%.
Like a Fury who's going to retrain and is jabbing him pop for 7-8 rounds, this time around, this motherfucker is going to know what's up.
No, true.
I'm not saying that's what I'm saying, and this is why for me, that's why I'm saying it's still 50-50, because I think there's positives for Fury. I think Fury's gone away. He's gonna be fitter than he was in December. I think that's a fact. But I also think Fury's gonna, and Wilder will be fitter. He will come in a bit heavier. He came in at like 16 stone in that first fight, bro. He was super drained. I think he will come in more muscular, more heavier. I think he'll be more patient.
Conditioned.
So I think there's pros and cons for both, and that's why I'm just saying I can't wait for that fight. I cannot wait.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
trust me. That's
when you flying down? When you flying down?
Next
for
week.
the fight?
Next week Tuesday. So yeah, next week Tuesday. There's no show. Yeah, we'll be live in Saudi Arabia.
We want more pictures, man. More pictures,
no
more pictures, bro.
I got you, bro. So listen, bro. Thank you for calling in as always, a bang, and take care, brother.
Nice one, bro.
Cheers,
nice
man.
One. Respect.
Yeah, so that's all the calls, guys. Thank you very much as per usual. Also, just want to let you guys know we are live on Facebook and YouTube. So if you want to go back, share that. So make sure you do subscribe and like and share as usual. But yeah, no, it's been a great show today. A lot of not even controversial comments, but a lot of opinions. I think, listen, when the heavyweights are out, everyone starts paying attention.
Yes.
They're going into the final sort of month of the year. Got a lot of fights happening. So next week there won't be a show. We'll be in Saudi Arabia, but we'll be back afterwards to chop that up. Don't forget you've got the Charlos as well. So people, I've had a great time. Want to say thanks to Sam as well, coming down, giving your opinions. Looking forward to hopefully you'll be back for the post Joshua Ruiz fight.
Definitely.
If you're not traveling, this guy's a little bit of a playboy, so just watch out for him. Do you have Instagram?
No, I don't actually.
See what I mean? That's a true sign of a playboy. No Instagram.
Al Heyman.
Al Heyman out here. But yeah, guys, listen. Other than that, boxing news this weekend. There is a show going down in Monaco. Joe Cordina's on that card.
Yes.
Cecilia Brackhurst is on that card. He's average, but again, check it out boxing wise. Just want to say thank you to everyone. Don't forget to subscribe, share, like all of the platforms. The name is Raps on TV, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. And on that note, guys, we are out. Peace.
See you guys.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's get ready to rumble! He's taken another one and another, and Howard Foster has stopped it. Wow, that is going to be controversial.
That's a crunching right hand, and that must finish it. It must finish it.
Taylor trying to catch himself, using his jab.